Okay, this is one of my favorite setups for the warm water period. I like this anytime the water is 70 degrees or warmer. Earlier in the year I may throw a jig, but I like big plastic worms this time of year. And this is a 10-inch culprit in tequila shad. And this is a 1/4 ounce dragon head made by Confidence Baits. I really like rigging these on the 1/4 ounce and the 3/8 ounce. We're in pretty shallow tidal water right now, so the 1/4 ounce is just about right for what we want to do. And we get the hitching post started into the nose. We twist the culprit down on the hitching post up to the nose of the jig, and then I line it up, and I come straight through, and I come all the way through. I can get away with this because the dragon head stays like this on the bottom. That hook point is up. You don't get any of this kind of roll like you might if you use the swim bait hook. I like this. A big ribbon tail worm like this, Texas rigged, is going to spin, so you're going to get line twist, but the dragon head will prevent that. It'll act like a keel. It'll keep it straight coming through the water just like this. And I like the direct contact as opposed to having a sliding bullet sinker. I know when I'm weighing my jig, every time I pick that presentation up, I know if the weight has changed. And in this case, with that last fish, that was what I felt. I felt the tick, and I went to weigh my jig, and the weight wasn't right. It was too light. So I reared back, set the hook, and found a 19-inch largemouth on the end of my line there. So. The other thing I've been doing this season on Maryland reservoirs, there's one that I fished that's very deep and very clear, and the bass get very pressured. It's a technique that they call stitching, and you're allowing the dragon head and the worm to hit the bottom, and you're really just advancing it by pulling it with your fingertips. You're just pulling a line, and I'm reeling up just with my thumb on the bait caster. That slow drag in the areas that I'm fishing where the water is extremely clear. I think the big bass, they can see it, and they're not used to that type of really slow, natural presentation on the bottom. They see a lot of crankbaits whiz by. They see a lot of spinner baits go by. They don't see too many big worms just barely inching along the bottom with a lot of long pauses. And that's probably of the I guess the three or four cetaceans, Maryland largemouth that I've caught over the last couple years have come to that kind of technique. Just crawling that big plastic worm on the bottom. Gets a lot of 18, 19 inchers too, which I don't mind, but I get really excited when they're over 20. But it's a real slow presentation, and it's kind of exciting when you're holding the line in your fingers like this to feel one pop it, because you will feel that come right down the line. And then you basically just let the line go, let him turn, and then you set the hook. So it's a good way to have good control in case you get one that like grabs the worm and immediately runs away from you, because you can let that line go and he's not going to feel you, as opposed to if you're reeling straight down to the reel, he's going to feel that resistance right away, and he may drop the worm before you're in a position to set the hook. So good technique for pressured bass if you can put up with the very slow pace of the presentation. I say this for kind of like my A spots on the lake, where I know that there's a good combination of deep water close by, major structural element, and then a little bit of cover on that structural element. You're just looking to drag that worm right over top of that cover item if you can, and feel it scratching over the top. Nice 19-inch largemouth. About to let her go.